Sparwood, British Columbia is one of those towns that most people drive past, look at the truck and say, hey, wow, that thing's huge. But very few actually understand. It doesn't have the flash of a resort town, it doesn't get national headlines, and it's rarely talked about outside of the Elk Valley. But over the last several years, something interesting has been happening here. People are moving to Sparwood on purpose, intentionally. Not just workers, not just locals, but families, first-time buyers, and buyers who are priced out of other mountain communities and are looking for something more stable. So the real question isn't, is Sparwood growing? The real question is, who Sparwood makes sense for right now and who needs to be very careful before buying here. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. My name is Craig. I'm a local real estate professional here in the Elk Valley. I've been here for over 40 years, and I work closely with buyers and sellers across Fernie, Sparwood, Elkford, and the surrounding community. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 core reasons people choose Sparwood, while also being very clear about where the risks are, the opportunities still exist, and strategies actually that make sense in today's market. This is not a hype video. This is a realistic one. So let's address the elephant in the room right away. Sparwood is not Fernie. It is not a resort town. It is not a lifestyle first market. And it's not driven by tourism or second home demand. Sparwood is a working resource town, and its real estate market behaves accordingly. That doesn't make it bad. In fact, for the right buyer, it can be one of the most stable and practical markets in the region. But understanding who you are in this market is critical before you buy. Reason number 1, Sparwood is a true working town, and that creates stability. The first and most important thing to understand about Sparwood is this: it exists for a reason. Sparwood is not built around visitors, it's not built around tourism, it's built around employment, particularly mining, trades, and essential services. And that means the town has full-time residents, predictable housing demand, and less emotional buying compared to resort markets. People live here because their lives and careers are here. That creates a very different real estate dynamic. They don't see wild seasonal swings, and they don't see heavy speculation. And you don't see buyers chasing lifestyle trends. Instead, Sparwood tends to attract long-term, practical buyers, and that's why stability is exactly why many people choose it over nearby markets. Reason number 2, affordability relative to the Elk Valley. Now let's talk about the reason most people first look at Sparwood. It's affordability. Compared to Fernie, Sparwood offers significantly lower entry points into detached homes, townhomes, and family-sized properties. For many buyers, especially first-time buyers, Sparwood is the only realistic way to own a home in the Elk Valley without over-leveraging. But affordability here needs to be understood properly. Sparwood isn't cheap because demand is weak. It's affordable because demand is employment-based, not lifestyle-based. And that difference matters. It means price growth tends to be slower, but also less volatile. This market rewards buyers who prioritize stability, livability, and long-term ownership, not short-term appreciation. Reason number 3, short commutes, simple daily life. One of the most underrated advantages of Sparwood is how simple daily life is. Commute times are short, traffic is minimal, errands don't require planning your day around congestion. For people working locally or commuting to nearby operations, Sparwood offers a level of convenience that larger centers simply can't match. And for families, this simplicity matters. Less time in the car, more predictable routines, and a community where kids still walk, bike, and play outside. That kind of environment is becoming harder and harder to find. Reason number 4, a single-engine economy and why that matters. Now, let's talk about the risk. Sparwood's economy is strong, but it is concentrated. Mining and resource employment drive the majority of housing demand here. That means this market performs best when employment is stable, wages are strong, and buyers plan to stay long term. When those conditions are met, Sparwood tends to be very resilient, but this also means buyers tend to be, and they need to be, realistic. This is not a market where prices explode upward, and it's not immune to employment cycles. That's not a flaw, it's simply the nature of a working town. The key is alignment. Reason number 5, Sparwood is an excellent family town if expectations are realistic. Sparwood is a fantastic place to raise a family, but for different reasons than Fernie. Here, families benefit from strong local schools, close-knit community ties, accessible sports and recreation, and a slower, more grounded pace of life. Kids grow up knowing their teachers, coaches, neighbors. There's less noise, less pressure, and there's more structure. But Sparwood is not about endless amenities or constant entertainment. It's about functionality, safety, and stability. Families who value those things tend to do very well here. Now, who's at risk in Sparwood right now? Let's be very clear about this. The buyers most at risk in Sparwood are short-term investors expecting quick appreciation, buyers buying purely because it's cheaper than Fernie, and buyers who don't plan to stay through a full employment cycle. Sparwood is not a market flip type of place. Buying here only makes sense if you're prepared to hold. Now, who has the opportunity? On the other side, the buyers with the strongest position in Sparwood are first-time buyers seeking long-term ownership, families prioritizing affordability and stability, workers with secure local employment, and buyers who want exposure to the Elk Valley without Fernie pricing. For these buyers, Sparwood can offer one of the best risk-adjusted ownership opportunities in the region. So some practical strategies that actually work here. If you're a first-time buyer, Sparwood can be an excellent entry point, but focus on condition and livability, not speculation. If you're a family buyer, buy with a long horizon and prioritize neighborhood and schools over future resale hype. If you're an investor, you better be conservative. Cash flow, durability, and tenant quality matter far more than appreciation. Sparwood isn't flashy, and it doesn't try to be. But for buyers who value stability, affordability, and community, Sparwood quietly does exactly what it's supposed to do. It gives people a place to live, work, and raise families without the pressure and volatility seen in many other markets. If you're considering Sparwood or trying to decide whether it makes sense compared to Fernie or other Elk Valley communities, the right strategy makes all the difference. If you want a realistic breakdown of your options, please feel free to reach out anytime, and I'll see you in the next video.